Tracy Bernard, thanks for coming in for Women Wednesday. Number 3, actually.
Yeah.
So you run Black Heels Women. Mm-hmm. Black Heels Women's Magazine.
Mm-hmm. Among other things, yep.
Okay. What are other things you got going on?
Well, Black Hills Woman is a magazine, is a product of Tout Advertising, which is the full-service ad agency I started about 16 years ago, I think, is where we're
there you go.
Where we're at.
Yeah.
And then this is our 10th year for Black Hills Woman Magazine. And a couple years ago, we started Black Hills Boomer Magazine, so we've got a couple.
Wow.
But we do a lot of things under that umbrella.
10 years.
10 years. I can't even believe it.
It's going to get old. Yeah, 10 years ago, when I was at the salon at Infinity Salon and Spa, and I remember I would see you guys bring them in and just set them on the where all the magazines were, and I'd check it out once in a while. I was like, oh, that's cool. They're doing something. They're like 10 years ago giving a platform for women and stuff and what's going on here in the community.
Yeah.
So.
And we have a surprisingly larger audience than you would expect of men as well.
Really?
Oh, we see them all the time, and they're so funny, though. They kind of like just try to tuck it.
Oh, yeah?
Like they take one all sly. And
like
people love to report that to me. I don't know why. Like, I saw a guy reading Black Hills Women Magazine.
Yeah, I've checked it out. I like just the camaraderie and stuff that you guys are doing here in the community.
Yeah.
For not just women, just basically like everything in the community. So
cool. Thank you.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, out here, it's been in its own way for so long. If you guys, continually begin to just continue that camaraderie, it grows. And then it makes other people get more involved. And it just gets, I don't know, makes it more homey here in the Black Hills rather than so standoffish.
Yeah. Well, we're so humble out here in the Midwest anyway that, it is kind of nice to like push people out in the limelight and be like, hey, be proud. Look at all this stuff you're doing. And we have some really, really cool things going on and amazing people in our community, men and women.
Yeah. Really do.
We just don't even know about it all.
Yeah. Some people kind of beat themselves up, too, when they're doing something really awesome. They're like, oh, it's not that great. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You need to kind of accept. And it's hard, Then you think you're going to get a big head or something. But, when you're doing, like, something crazy awesome at art or an event that's actually really good for the community, you kind of just don't give yourself that credit that you deserve. Mm-hmm. That's what people need to start doing. They need to start stepping up.
Stop calling us flyover country. Because that we are not.
Are we?
Well, that's what people say. It drives me nuts. I've spent enough time on the coast, and they're just kind of like talk to me like what? So what's it like in South Dakota? Like,
do you guys still have
we're
dirt
not
roads?
on another planet.
Do you still have dirt roads?
Yeah. Oh, I've had crazy questions asked. Do we live in teepees? I mean, like, what?
It is the Dakota Territory.
It is the Dakota Territory.
Yeah, and it is slower time out here.
Mm-hmm.
We are a little behind the time because of business, corporations, technology. Mm-hmm. Not everybody's in a Tesla,
right?
But it's growing. We're catching up. Mm-hmm. We're catching up with Sioux Falls, and Sioux Falls is a little ahead of time. So I've said that several times. I'm pretty sure people are sick of me saying that, but it's real. It's true.
Right.
Like Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota is probably the closest big mecca, like next to us, like Denver. But I mean,
Minneapolis, Omaha, Denver. We're kind of triangulated there a little bit.
Yeah, until we get our together, our poop together.
This is a family show.
Try and keep this one a little PG.
Okay.
So, what kind of things you guys got coming up?
Well, we're right now. It's sort of in the thick of it because 4 times a year, both Boomer and Woman come out at the same time. So we're literally trying to get both issues to the copy editors tomorrow.
So you do monthly? Quarterly?
Black Woman is bi-monthly and Boomer is quarterly.
Oh.
But I sync them up, so it's not, the quarterly aspect of Boomer is not exactly quarterly. And just because it saves me so much money to distribute them at the same time and have them delivered at the same time. So gotta be smart financially.
Yeah. I mean, how hard is it to do a magazine?
It's a labor of love.
Really? It's tough, right?
I mean, it's
Getting the content?
Getting the content. Well, I think it's like a puzzle that you have to put together. And I've created my own little algorithm of, I want to...
Your own formula on how you do it?
Yeah. I want to cover art in some respect. I want to cover philanthropy in some respect, business. So I have sections, health and fitness.
Did you pick all this out yourself? Or did you take criticism here and there?
Well, people write us all the time and tell me about this person and that person. And then, of course, everybody wants their business covered. So we get a lot of those efforts. But I get a lot out of social media. Like, I just kind of pay attention. And I'm constantly taking photos of things with my phone to remind myself that I saw about this athlete or that business person or whatever, and I'll circle back when it fits.
Yeah, that's how I see. I find out a lot on just social, just scrolling, and then there I am. I'm like, oh, cool. I'll talk to this person. This looks interesting.
Yeah.
Like the Western Dakota Tech team now is building a suit or something for the Mars trip.
What?
Yeah.
That's cool.
It is insane. I can't believe they're actually going to put people on Mars.
Western Dakota Tech.
They're building the suit, the technology in the suit, yeah.
Wow, that's so impressive.
It is. I saw that, and I was like, I need to get some of those guys on. I mean, obviously we won't be able to understand a whole lot what they're talking about, but it would just be cool, to...
Try to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's going on here?
Yeah. That's really wicked cool.
It is.
School of Mines, too. I mean, some of the stuff that they have coming out of there is just, like, jaw-dropping.
I never knew how up there the college was, the School of Mines in the United States.
Oh, I did not either. And so I have two sons that go to School of Mines. One is studying computer engineering and one is studying chemical engineering. And because of... my relationship with them, I've started to really get to know this school on a more intimate level. And I mean, one of the articles we covered in the last issue of Boomer was this research they're doing on the Titanic. And they're studying, and the School of Mines is a part of this. This is a larger effort than just the School of Mines, but they're a part of this. They're studying how metals age and how the effect of bacteria plays into that. Because last time they visited the Titanic, they were shocked. It's almost gone.
It's eating it away.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll start to learn a lot of things about how to develop stronger materials, about how bacteria play in our environment, and all of that's happening in our backyard.
Yeah.
So,
2 kids that go to School of Mines. Mm-hmm. Your retirement's taken care of. You're good.
Well,
they'll be able to take care of Mom.
I don't count on anything from anybody, but that would be nice, wouldn't it?
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I read something. I'm going to move this just in case it's in the way. I read something. I don't know if it's true or not, but it was about Chernobyl, on how there's a fungi growing around where it's like eating the nuclear waste and stuff. Like, it's just
radioactive
particles?
Or?
Yeah, it's eating that away. Like it just created itself, and now it's eating it. So I don't know. I don't know if it was a BS, article, but it sounded pretty intriguing.
Yeah.
I tried to read some of it, and then I just got lost in these long words.
Yeah.
In Chernobyl or whatever.
Yeah.
Russian.
Well, I think the study of fungi in general is a really, really cool subject.
It is. Mm-hmm. Helps the immune system, like some fungus.
Mm-hmm.
That's
They're studying its effects on the brain, and not necessarily the psychoactive
Oh yeah.
ones. I like literally as maybe a treatment for
Just so you know,
mental
she
illness.
watches Joe Rogan, so she
I
probably
do.
heard that a couple times.
I do. The guy that wears the mushroom hat, like he's so weird, but he the stuff he has to say. I listened to a 2-hour podcast of his while I just painted a room.
Yeah.
And time flew. It was really interesting.
It is to learn about how that stuff actually does affect the body.
Mm-hmm.
Helps with
I
PTSD
take
and
lion's
stuff.
mane because of that podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Does it work?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I hope so.
Just doing it for the fun of it.
You know, I'm super into health and fitness and stuff, and
Yeah.
I've done 23andMe and had my the health portion of my DNA analyzed or whatever, and I have I have a carrier for Alzheimer's, so I pay very, very close attention to Alzheimer's research, and they're doing a lot of stuff with fungi and that, and many other things. So
my girlfriend did that, and she got back. She did the health one too, that tells you what you have, and I guess she would have had like macular degeneration. She has like a trace of it when she gets older. Macular degeneration. I already have it, so I'm like half blind anyway. So I was like, well, that's not good. You know, if we like had a kid, it'd be like
one
already
of us
blind.
needs to be able to see.
Age 8, it'd be like blind. Yeah, it's like that's really cool how Ancestry and 23andMe actually can tell you like your ancestry, your culture, your race, your health.
Right.
It's pretty accurate too.
And kind of back to Joe Rogan, he has a woman named Dr. Rhonda Patrick on his show on the regular, and I love her. She's the real deal. She does not sell out, and you can actually take your DNA and upload to her. And I got back like a 30-page report, and it went real deep.
Really? Mm-hmm. So what? Probably the most of one race you are is probably 49%.
I am so white. I was actually like, really? Like I kind of thought there would be something interesting and fun in there. I'm so white.
It's like Scandinavian, German, Irish, English.
Yep. I've got 0.06% Nigerian, so I'm very proud of that. That's about as interesting as I get.
My girlfriend got the same thing, and she's like, "Oh, I'm Nigerian. It's it's crazy." It's like that's not really a lot. It doesn't. It might have just been in Jesus's DNA. You never know.
I know. It was like, I kind of hoped there was there was one cool thing in there. They found a Viking grave in Birka, Sweden, and it was a female. It was a high-ranking Viking warrior, and for years they did not know that it was a female. And they started to study. They tested the DNA, or they tested the bones. Yep. And I guess I'm related to her, so I'm like, oh, that's cool. So it went to my head, and I went as a Viking for Halloween, and
that culture was something else.
Yikes! not sure I should be too proud of it, but
it's just what it was. Like
it explains a lot about the women in my family. It's like, aha!
Step out of line, you're gonna get the Viking hit.
Oh yeah.
What was that one guy's name? He was like
Ragnar. I know who you're talking about. Like the most famous,
he's like one of the Mongols
warriors ever. And most people in Asia are related
have his
to
DNA.
him. Yeah.
Yes,
that's because he raped and pillaged like nobody else.
Yep. And right now, somebody listening to too is like
screaming at us.
I know who you're talking about.
Yes, Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan.
Yeah,
that's him.
There we go.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Some people, how they got away with all that stuff back then, like it was like, I mean, not like by the law, but I mean, just like how their followers would still follow them. Mm-hmm. It's like now the presidency. We're not getting into politics.
No, please don't. We can talk about anything but that.
So, okay, back to
I was a White House intern a million years ago.
Were you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What were you doing?
Interning.
Like what department? Like
Office of Public Liaison. My dad is Arab American, and I was there representing Arab American Institute. And
you from here?
yeah, I was born in Yankton.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much raised in.
Black
I have had a very non-traditional life. Pretty much, no. I didn't. I moved here 16 years ago, but my family had a cabin here from back when I was much younger. So we've spent a lot of time out in the hills, and it was always kind of on my target destination. But
yeah, that's like a White House, and then you got the magazine. Did you go to college?
Yep.
Where at?
USD.
Did you like it?
College?
Yeah.
I've never liked being a student very much, but I enjoyed the college experience.
Do you have like a problem with authority?
Yes. I have a problem with conformity.
I think that runs in people who are creative. I think, and it's not like we have a problem with being told what to do. We have a way of thinking that we can do it ourselves or learn ourselves and then do it better. Being creative, it really does make your life more obstacles all over. Like sometimes you just can't even be an employee. You got to open up your own business and do your own thing.
Right.
I run into a lot of people who are creative, and they all have like ran their own business. They're all business owners.
Right.
Like every time I talk to them, I always ask them, I'm like, do you have a problem with the authority? And they're like, I kind of do. And I'm like, see, like you own a great corporation, and it's what happens, man.
Yeah. I can play along and I can be subordinate. Obviously, I have to be able to be collaborative with what I do. But blind conformity is just not for me. I don't like that very much. I think I came out of the womb independent, though. My mom would tell me the story. I'd be 3 years old, and I said, I just sat her down and I said, I'm too old for naps now. And she said, "Okay."
That's good though.
Yeah.
A lot of women are actually getting strong. And I had a couple of my friends on here, and they said they didn't like a lot of the guys' opinions about things. And there isn't a very old way of how some guys are thinking about things these days. Still, it's 2020, and I agree. I don't know. There's not a place for any sex just to be in like a category.
Right.
You know,
it's interesting because I publish a female magazine, and obviously I'm a woman, but I also have 3 sons and my husband and brothers, and on and on and on. And so I almost have more male influence in my life in terms of the closest people to me. Yeah. And it's such a perspective. Like I actually worry about the pendulum swing of leaving boys out, and so much focus on girl power. That what are we doing to our young men?
Yes.
I actually I feel like I somehow, God or whatever, or chance, whatever you want to call it, put me in some sort of weird position where I am who I am. I'm a female, and I have this life of a sort of a female boss kind of thing, but I have all these men in my life, and I feel like it gives me this balanced perspective on life.
I grew up with nothing but women. I have 3 older sisters. My mother was my best friend. My grandma basically grew up with. So it's I'm a cosmetologist, for Christ's sake.
That's cool though.
It's like I do have like a women's life, and stuff like that. A lot of my influence is female, but I'm a guy's guy. I'm still a dude,
macho man.
If I was gay, I would have came out when I graduated cosmetology school.
Right.
But it's I do see the difference in like how women are treated a little more tenderly than guys still. Like the women in the families usually get paid attention to a little more, and then the boy gets to go get dirty and wreck his bike and stuff. But then the girls, they're like, well, we're going to make sure everybody's nice to you. As soon as a little boy's mean to you, we're going to kick his ass. And then like the boy, they're like, just take it.
Right.
And now the women are dominating the workforce. Like I saw that Coda put it out. Yeah, Coda put it out that women are dominating the workforce, and that's awesome. And then now guys are giving just more guys crap about being lazy. And it's like, no, we're not. We just weren't prepped.
Right. Well, there are more women in the workforce than men, but I don't know if we're in charge.
Yeah. I don't have one friend that his wife like makes all the money, and these guys don't, and they're just like, yeah, man, it's true.
Yeah.
Like, all of them. We were here last weekend, and there's 4 of them that all their women make all the money. They do really good.
Do they make more money, or they're just also working?
They make more money.
They
the
make
women.
more.
They're
Good for them.
Yeah, it's very common. Like I run into guys all the time, like even real estate guys, and they're like, I have a tendency to ask people things that are personal, even if I don't know them.
Oh, okay.
I do, but I'm always like, hey, man, I'm like, how's it going? What do you do? What does your wife do? Like, who's the bread maker? And they're like, oh, that's my wife. Honestly, man. He's like, yeah, she's got like 30-something accounts, and I got like 5. And I'm like, she probably, a little that personality to talk to people. And it's just how they are, socially awesome, like socially too.
Right. I wish that parents would work on their sons at being more expressive with their emotions and open emotionally and communicative. And I wish they would work with their daughters on being tougher. Like with girls, we still, even today, give them the message of be pretty, be nice. If you're pretty and you're nice.
I see a lot of girls who have kids, and that's all they ever post pictures about. Mm-hmm. Oh, my kid's so beautiful and stuff. Not intelligent. Mm-hmm. Look what she did. Look what she accomplished.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's certainly there's something to that females, it resonates with females as well, or it wouldn't stick. But like same with boys, like, we tell boys to harden up and toughen up, and we don't really allow them emotional breadth, even when they're really young. And so then we kind of grow up into young men and women that sort of kind of facilitate these cultural.
We're still in the same way we were.
Yeah.
Because of the way we're raising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you throw in pop culture and media and stuff like that, and it's all the same. So like with Black Hills Woman, we've even had scenarios where I would be working with a photographer, and I'll say to the cover model, do you want us to touch up your photo, or do you want us to leave it alone? Like, why would I assume you're not happy with your wrinkles or should not be comfortable with your wrinkles or whatever? So I like to ask. I don't like to assume. Some just little like tweaks like that. And we don't ever do anything beauty related in terms of, well, let me take that back. We have a beauty section, like we cover beauty topics.
I was like, yeah, you do.
And makeup. Yeah, no. What I mean is we don't
self-conscious stuff, like nailing that.
We don't talk about women's beauty. Like we don't put someone in the magazine and like, this is Rachel. She's very beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's not what is interesting about Rachel.
That's her natural accomplishment. Yes. She worked so hard at it from birth.
Right. We're looking for, entrepreneurial spirits and people who there are women out there that they're constantly like running fundraising drives and collecting clothing for the poor and just all the time, in addition to being moms and in addition to running businesses and stuff like that. I mean, the energy level is like, I want to go home and nap, and these women would run circles around me. So they're who I look for.
Me too. Honestly, that's why I started this.
Yeah.
This Women Wednesday was to hear, just the influence on how they're stepping up and getting all these things done. And, I don't know, just being so strong, and they're not getting credit for it. Mm-hmm. Because, some of them are so busy, they don't get to do things like this. Come on and talk about it. Mm-hmm. and express things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really do like that though about the men not expressing themselves, like bottling everything up when they grow up because their parents don't teach them how to express themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very smart thinking.
Yeah. Well, I say that though, but we used to say to our kids, "Harden up, Bernard." We would say that all the time. And granted, we'd also say it to my nieces too.
Yeah.
Like, "Harden up, Bernard."
I was going to say politics again, but I better not. But like the LGBT community, marijuana, and because they're all going on the ballot and stuff. And here in South Dakota, gun laws and stuff, I mean, it's just, there are so many different types of cultures going on around here now. It is getting, everybody's butting heads somehow.
I think everybody's just mad all the time.
Well, it seems like that, but it's a very new time here, and it is changing. Like every state around us is already going through those changes, and here we are, finally going through it. We're going through the wheel. We have Christie Nome, what they got, farmers can now grow hemp in South Dakota to distribute or whatever.
Can they?
Yeah, it just passed like a couple days ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's new, like for agriculture and everything. There's all sorts of things changing, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things people don't understand, and they don't want them to change. But it is changing. It's 2020.
Yeah. Well, we need to keep our young people here.
Yeah.
I think that's an issue that's really important to me.
Business, jobs.
It's my kids could have gone anywhere. I'm really, really glad, and I wouldn't have forced them into any decision. Yeah. I mean, the decision was there, but I'm personally really glad that they decided to go to the School of Mines. Even in my own company, I have trouble filling certain positions. I have good luck finding a web programmer out here, or and I try to stay as local as possible. Some things are very difficult to find here because we just don't have the people.
They are. Even doing this, I was actually looking at trying to get a programmer and stuff like that, and somebody to edit and engineer this whole thing. Nobody does this.
Yeah. Did you learn it yourself then?
Yeah. And I hate reading and just like looking at diagrams and learning new software.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to do. If you're going to do something and it's this fresh.
Right.
You have to kind of apply yourself.
Right. I mean, that's actually how I even came to do the design side of my business. All my education was in advertising and marketing. And I just kept having these ideas I couldn't get other people to do, or I couldn't convey them, or they just weren't manifesting the way I wanted them. So I had to teach myself.
Like graphic art?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Oh, you do graphic art?
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, I'm actually the creative director of my firm.
That is what a lot of places around here need to do. Learn how to do the graphic design themselves. Because if you give an idea to somebody, 900% of the time it'll come back and you're just like, it'll work. Not what I wanted. So that's way to go.
Unfortunately, I'm the bottleneck though. So I'm only one person. I can't try to do it all. But design is actually what I enjoy doing the most. It's sort of my happy place. So
it's time just to kick back,
and
start creating, and let your brain run wild, and it's on autopilot because you know how to do it.
Yeah,
it's nice. I do it. All of it from myself because I had to teach myself how to do it too.
Yeah,
it was boring at first learning how to do it.
Yeah,
cut and paste, all that.
Well, you think back and you're like, oh my God, how little I knew when it all began. Thank God I didn't know what I didn't know, or I never would have put one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
So there's a certain amount of blind bravery that occurs. but yeah, show me how to use the tools and I'll figure the rest out.
Yeah, you. Was starting the business, were you scared at all, to come out with the mag?
Well, I started my business. We moved here from Minneapolis, and my husband, we had been trying to move here for 4 years and couldn't find jobs that we could financially make the decision, a good decision to do so with. My husband finally got a job out here, and we moved I was 9 months pregnant with my third child. And he came home from lunch after being on the job just a few weeks and said, they let me go. And I was like, what? Now, my husband is super smart guy, super hard worker. Did not see this coming at all. And I don't know what happened to me that day. I started crying. I was very pregnant, but I started crying, and I didn't stop crying for about 4 hours. I just could not get it together.
Just needed a good cry.
I lost it. And I think the idea of having like a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old and being 9 months pregnant in a town we knew like 4 people in. And by the way, that I give a lot of love to this town for that reason. Like, where else could I have sit here 16 years later and have built what I have built without being in this particular town? I don't know if I could have done that elsewhere. So opportunity is here, and open-mindedness is here, and acceptance is here. It's just connecting it all. But
it's hard. Yep.
Yeah. And so that was how it started. I'm like, we need me to make money, but I'm about to give birth. And then when I did give birth, I was breastfeeding and had small children and daycare expenses. There was just nothing that was going to help me make all that work. So I started consulting from my basement. My little toddlers were trained that if mommy is on the phone, you don't go in her office. Like, we had all these weird rules, and it grew from there. Yeah.
That's so many good things come out of the basement.
Yeah, right.
I just had
or the worst story, you know.
Yeah. I just had on Donnie. He moved here from California with his pregnant wife to start the South Dakota Barber College, and he was sitting in his mother-in-law's basement making phone calls, calling everybody to set up meetings for the students. I was like,
right.
Yeah, man. Even the biggest companies that are doing good things here start in the basement. This started in my parents' basement. Right.
Yeah. I mean, and I honestly also, for me, as a female, my husband could take care of us. We could figure out a way to live on his income if we wanted me to. Right. But something happened to me that day. Like, I'll never ever rely on anybody else for my livelihood. I never felt so helpless.
Didn't know what you're gonna do. Yeah.
And I had these little kids that were my responsibility.
Yeah.
I'll just never feel like that again.
That's good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the strength of the independent woman when we come back. Let's take a quick break. Okay. All right. We'll be back, everybody. Black Hills Podcast is so fresh. We don't have any sponsors yet. And if you'd like to place your ad, this is where it's going to go. Black Hills Podcast is a new source of media to get to know more about the people, their stories, and ideas. This is a beautiful area, and it's exploding with ambitious and creative people. But we want to hear everything Black Hills. Entrepreneurs, leaders, charities, businesses, artists, musicians, hairstylists, restaurants, sports, motorcyclists, automotive, pets, athletes, hunters, fishers, firefighters, police officers, healthcare community, the religious and political community, men and women, the LGBT community, everything. This is where we come to share stories, ideas, and have conversations about anything and everything Black Hills. Keep it local, keep it Black Hills. Welcome back, everybody. We're back. During the break, Tracy wants to talk about something. And I'm just going to listen for a minute.
Oh, what was it?
Well, we were talking about how, before we went on break, how scary it is if you were scared you were put in a position that you felt helpless because you had your 2 kids to take care of, and you didn't know what to do for money. You didn't really want to live off your husband, but
I didn't feel employable under the current circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's emotionally or whatever inside you, for women out there that do feel helpless, like they feel obligated to stay with the man because they have some money, they're having kids, you can't make ends meet. Get out there and open a business or do something. that's passionate.
Well, at least just have some options available for yourself. I'm surprised at even today, it's still the number of women that rely solely on the man in their life for their financial security. And no judgment on my part. Had that event not happened, I don't know that I would be sitting here today and that my life would look like this, and I'd be having these same thoughts and these same feelings. That what happened to me changed me. And I've watched since then friends go through divorce. Divorce law isn't like what it used to be. I mean, you don't just because you're the female that stayed home doesn't mean you're going to cash in anymore. And I've seen a lot of, I've seen some women, not a lot, some women have to really like build their life from the bottom up that did sacrifice everything to raise the kids, stayed home to raise the kids, didn't have another alternate source of income. And because of divorce or death, found themselves in a predicament. So whatever that is, and some people feel very strongly that somebody needs to stay home with the kids, and I 100% respect that, and actually think I can't say I disagree. It's a tough situation, but to just figure out, even if you have a 401k set up only in your name, or fallbacks, I think it's really, really important. Or just keeping, if you went to college and let's say you got a nursing degree, just keep your license up. Or, cosmetology, keep your license up so that you have something should something go wrong. It's kind of a big deal. He's stroking his hair.
It is. It's I have this friend that brought up a very good point. And it kind of shocked me at first because it was kind of sexist. But then I really started to think about it. And we were at the park. Just met up. I haven't seen him in like a while. He's a professional photographer. And there's this girl with her little son on like a little car tricycle. Mm-hmm. And he's like, Brandon, let me stop you real quick. I just want to, I'm going to sound like a complete but I just want to tell you this. And this is my feelings. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, look at that girl with her son right now. And she was just walking, not on her phone, just walking and, walking her kid. And his kid was just next to her. And he's like, she is doing more for that kid's life, that little boy's life, that he will remember for the rest of his life, rather than working 50, 60 hours a week, trying to make ends meet, mm-hmm. and not being in that kid's life. He's like, it's hard to say, but some women out there really, really, really want to work and stuff, but to pay attention to your kids once, you got to find that balance too, mm-hmm. to spend time to make their young lives matter. Mm-hmm. He had a rough life too. He only grew up with his mother. Mm-hmm. So coming from him, I'm pretty sure there was a little bit of damage there and stuff, but it made sense to me.
It's super important.
Your mother is absolutely
valuable
important.
Responsibility.
It is.
Yeah.
And I'm a mama's boy too, so. But if you don't love your mom, there's something wrong with you. Yeah.
Well, and if I'm completely honest, I have a ton of respect for stay-at-home moms because I don't think I was very good at it.
Yeah, it's personality too.
My husband would come home from work, and I tried it for about a year and a half, and he would come home, and I had removed the bathroom window and removed all the bushes from the front of the house and started painting things and tearing things out. And it's like nap time would happen. House was clean. I started tearing the house apart and fixing it back up. And I just couldn't I couldn't settle. I couldn't settle down is what I'm saying. And just be content mm-hmm. with that role alone.
Yeah.
And I just am way too high strung, I think. My poor kids. But and I wished I could.
I don't think anybody really enjoys it just sitting at home with the kids, but finding a balance to, I mean, if you have both the parents in life to balance it out, so you're spending time equally with the kids, like whether one is working and the other one's working also, to not, I mean, just like working the same shifts, is kind of hard.
I think some people do genuinely do it or do enjoy it. My brother-in-law and my sister-in-law, she's a surgeon. He's a stay-at-home dad. And, of course, he's hysterical.
She's a surgeon?
She's a surgeon. He's a stay-at-home dad.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah. And he loves to rattle my chains or whatever. He was like, easiest job I've ever had. Just go like hell when they're napping. That's what he said. I mean, it's easy to him because he loves it. He's not wrong that it's a wonderful job, I think is really what he's trying to say but he's trying to annoy me. But
some guys have that quality in them too, to be nurturing. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I mean, he's a hard-nut Bernard guy too. You should have him on the show. You would like that a lot. And he does. He goes like hell when the kids are at school now because they're older. He gets the house clean. He gets dinner going in the crock pot, and then he'll go play around at disc golf. He's got it made.
Yeah, and yeah. I try and run this, and then my girlfriend's a nurse, so I go home and cook and then make sure dinner's ready, because working 12 hours, like she's gone from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. and then she comes home and I'm like, yeah, go ahead. I mean, like, all the time I just cook, and I'm kind of the housewife,
right?
But it's it's just making that balance also. Like, I have a little time,
right? I
have a little more freedom than she does at the hospital because she can't, and it makes complete sense to do this stuff.
Don't you think that's sort of the new modern relationship now, though?
It is, and it's sad. Like, if people still think the old way, like, the woman should be cooking, the woman should be doing the laundry, cleaning. Don't touch my laundry. I'll do it myself. I know how many dryer sheets I like, because if it's staticky, I go nuts.
Right.
And cooking, I enjoy cooking. I grew up in a kitchen with, all the girls in my family. Actually, most of them are out fishing and stuff. But yeah, I was the youngest, so I couldn't really do a whole lot. And I grew up cooking and cleaning and all that.
Right. So my family refers to so many women kind of seem like almost indentured servants, where they're doing the heavy lifting with the kids, the house, and they have a job, and they come home and they make dinner, and they're also doing the little nuanced stuff, like buying all the gifts and the cards and the responding to things and doing the doctor appointments and whatever, and the guy comes home and we call him a fork dropper. He comes home and he eats his dinner and he drops his fork, and then he goes and watches TV or whatever. And hey, listen, if somebody's a stay-at-home dad and you're the breadwinner or whatever, like, I understand all that dynamic. But if your wife is also working,
yeah,
and like, is the balance in the workload there as a couple? And I'm lucky. My husband, he does the laundry. We each kind of have our roles. And then sometimes, if I don't feel like cooking, he cooks. If he doesn't feel like cooking, I cook. Like, it's kind of each night we're like, well, what do we check in at about 4?
Yeah, just so
what are you thinking?
Just so it doesn't get monotonous.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do get sick of doing your role, like, and I try and do as much as I can of my own stuff, so I don't put my stuff on her. And I see a lot of guys too that are actually doing their own stuff, not pushing their things on these girls, and it's a new way. Like, it is a new way that, like, relationships are going. Yeah,
I'm finding millennials very, very fascinating, because I'm a Gen Xer. And I think I'm watching them. A lot of them are married and now having young babies now. They're fascinating to me as a generation.
They're like organisms you're watching.
I'm studying you, millennials. No, they're fiercely independent. The men are more emotionally available. The females are more empowered. It's some of the old rule books. They just do not apply.
This is actually really true. And this is 100% true. A lot of actually older than my generation, they're saying that the younger generation has gotten really soft. I don't think they've gotten soft. I think it's just evolution. I think it's just how it goes. Like the snowball starts rolling and things start taking its course. I mean, a lot of them actually in that generation have come from single moms, so they are getting more of their mother. Like, it's being like if you're a kid that came from a single mom too, you do think different. You know, I don't think the psychology, the understanding of it really is there. We haven't really understood that either.
Yeah,
but
I did hire a millennial. I've had two millennial. Well, I've had more than two millennial males, but two in particular millennial males that work for me that like were terrified to answer the phone.
That were?
Yes, I'm telling you, the first day on the job, the phone rang, and I was like, "Hey, do you mind getting that?" And he literally kind of had to breathe through it. He went, "Oh, okay," and then he went, and he picked up the phone, and I just kind of put my head in my hands, and he couldn't see me, and I thought, oh my gosh,
is this real?
Yeah. So I think when you have little moments like that, you go, oh my gosh, that's the soft thing everybody's talking about, because childhood is so easy on kids now, in some respects, and in other respects, it's much, much harder.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, we do okay. So I was a latchkey kid. A kid from the 80s. It was like, I came home to an empty house and I had chores that I was supposed to do, and my rules were be home before 8. It was you ride in the back window of the car, and now it's like you're in a 5-star harness till you're 49 pounds or whatever the weight is. I don't even know what it is now, but which I'm not saying is a bad rule. I'm just saying like it was so different.
Yeah, absolutely different. There was more independence when you were younger, when we were younger.
It was like, don't die. Just come home. Don't die.
Yeah. Don't kill your little brother.
Yeah.
So, when I come home, make sure nothing's on fire.
Right.
That's it.
Right. When I was 3 years old, my mom was a nurse and she would work on call, so she would sleep late in the morning. So the rule for me was, because I was too small to tell time, was that I couldn't leave the house until The Price is Right was over. I was a toddler.
Yeah, that's actually pretty smart though.
And so Price is Right was over. It was time for me to go outside and play, and then I would not come back until I was called. And that was the 80s, that was the 70s, but that's Gen Xers.
Yeah.
So we see some of those things and we go, oh, soft, but it's just cared for. We know more. We're cautious.
I don't think there's anything wrong with I don't know, being how they are emotional.
No, definitely not. It's good.
More expressive. Yeah, absolutely. They are. Yeah. And they're more understanding. They are a lot harder. Like with social media, the knowledge that they have.
Oh, they're savvy.
Oh, they can really bring somebody down by just a meme and then spread it throughout the school, all their friends. That is so crazy how they can do that now. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a new way of like boys
cyberbullying.
When boys fight, they punch each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they can kind of get over it. When girls fight, they socially destroy each other.
Emotionally. Yeah.
And so now there's this tool for that is kind of dangerous a little bit. Because you could do it so quickly and easily.
I think so too. And being so young, everything is so 10 times more increased, like your emotions, especially when you get mad and you get really sad and angry. I hate to bring it up, but suicide in the youth has grown phenomenally here in South Dakota also. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty sad to see because of this social media. But
suicide, depression, anxiety, they're all off the charts.
Yeah, I don't think social media should get all the blame.
Right.
It is a powerful tool. It is for a lot of really good, but I think it just needs to be more regulated, like, better. It's like some poop heads start sending out these things. They should be, like, oh, it won't go on. Why? Oh, there's words, and it just checks it out. I don't know. We got so much technology. Why not?
Well, the whole premise of the internet in itself is sort of, we've been learning as we go, right?
Yeah, it's brand new. It's still.
And the social implications of it all, we're just figuring it all out.
Yep.
We're like, okay, here are the pros, here are the cons. The cons really kind of suck. And what are we going to do about it?
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you're trying to raise your babies and in an environment that is just evolving and unfolding in front of you, and you're supposed to be nimble on your feet as a parent and helping guide them, that's extra tricky. So my my heart goes out to millennials on that one.
Yeah, you have to keep up with it too. Mm-hmm. And that's why you can't just put yourself in a box and go to work and come home and then expect to raise your kids right. You have to kind of
dial in.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to. It's
my mother-in-law had 11 children, and it was a little like Lord of the Flies. I mean, there's only so much supervision you can give 11 children, and they all grew up. All but one of them went to college. I mean, very well-adapted, responsible, great human beings came from these two beings. But like oh my God, they would tell these stories of inner sibling torture, and it just was like, wow, you're lucky you're all alive.
Isn't that crazy how back then they used to do like 12 kids was the norm back then?
Yeah.
And now it's like you have 3, you're pushing it.
Well, and I mean, kids are so overscheduled. How could you even? Yeah. And you've got to take them to all the things, and you've got to sit there now too. There's an expectation on parents that didn't exist before. Oh, yeah. Their homework is your homework a little bit. Like I had to play math games with my kids. It was my responsibility to play math games with them every night and sign the sheet that I did. So like whatever assignment they had. And I almost wonder if teachers, which by the way don't ever get I know everybody says this, but it's true. They don't get enough recognition.
Yeah. Shout out to the teachers.
Big shout out to the teachers. Maybe that's their clever way of getting these parents to dial in. Yeah. Like sort of their little social contribution. I don't know.
Yeah, they are getting judged too as being a parent. Like, your parents haven't been to the game; they're watching. They're actually watching how much involvement these parents have, rather than just like ignoring the kids. So yeah, they do get watched, and they do get poop for it.
I like how you've really committed to this G rating. Then
I have.
We're going for it. I appreciate that.
This is my first one. It's new to me.
No red explicit mark next to our file.
I actually do need to start being a little more professional. So thank you for putting me on the spot and
no,
making it bringing a little more professionalism to the podcast for the Black Hills. It's about time all I need to do next is just get a haircut.
No, I think you need to keep the hair.
Thanks.
For sure.
I'm gonna braid it like Snoop Dogg.
There you go. Why not?
Actually, I have had it. It's just it gets regardless, all this, it's hot. This is like wearing a beanie full time.
Well, but then you can do the man bun or a ponytail. And
still hot. Like all the girls out there that have really long, thick hair. I have never, I've been doing hair for a long time, but I don't dry shampoo girls' hair when they come to the salon. I wash it, cut it, blah. Mm-hmm. Dry shampoo is genius. And go do what you're gonna do.
Right.
It's just on the run. Just dry shampoo. It's like, this is awesome.
Right. I bought extensions one time. Oh, as a hairdresser, you'll get a kick out of this one. They were clip-in extensions, right? You could get on an infomercial. Yeah. This is back when I was in college, and I decided I was going to go from chin length hair to like waist length. So I went as long as I can. Well, I have pretty fine hair, as you can see. Yeah. And spent several hours in the salon with my stylist was placing them and blending my hair so that the layers blended and all of that. And of course it didn't blend at all. So we stuck a big bow. And by the way, bows were out at this point. I mean, they were, but stuck a big bow back there. I went to an Indigo Girls concert that night. And as I am dancing with my flowy hair and feeling like I look pretty good, they started to slide out.
It's a mullet.
They started to slide out. So I ran to the side and I had a leather jacket on. I pulled all the extensions out, but they were expensive. So I was shoving them in my sleeves.
Yeah, no pockets. It's in your sleeve.
Well, they weren't going to fit in the pockets. I had the sleeves were the only place. So I danced through the entire Indigo Girls concert, itchy with hair down my sleeves.
Just an armpit full of blonde hair.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was a disaster. It was infomercial. I was an infomercial sucker for a long time.
So when is the next magazine coming out?
Next issues will be out probably the first 10 days of March.
Okay.
It takes a while to get them all distributed, but yeah.
What else you got coming out? The Boomer magazine?
Yep, Boomer's coming out same time.
Same time.
Yeah, we're working on some cool things. We did an article on the Chinatown dig.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of a cool story.
It's in Deadwood. Yeah.
Yeah, and in Woman we're covering a story on a couple I actually know pretty well. The young man was real active guy and liked to do bike tricks. I don't know what you call that, but with a dirt bike you do bike tricks or whatever.
James Carter?
No.
Okay. Freestyle though.
Yeah. So just he's a real active guy. He did all sorts of things, but that was one of the things he did, and he had an accident doing that and became a quadriplegic.
Oh yeah.
Lucky he's alive.
Yep.
And those two are just dating, and she has stayed with him, and the way he has risen above these really challenging circumstances. I mean, if you can even imagine, and her sticking by his side and the way they've navigated this as a couple is just, I mean, it'll make a grown man cry.
Yeah, finding that support from one person that stays by your side no matter what kind of troubling time or disability or whatever you're going through. Yeah, it helps out a lot emotionally.
So they're super inspiring, and I'm excited to bring that story.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great. And for Black Hills Women's Magazine, we need to work on you getting your own podcast.
Yeah, that's not a terrible idea.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for being here, Tracy.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I'll have you back again.
Yeah,
That'd
definitely.
be great. All right, more to talk about. Take care, everybody. Thanks for listening.